What? I have no idea what episode we're on.
I don't know what it is. Hey,
You've been putting out an average of 3 episodes per week.
I've been putting out a bunch of in the shop. We got the new shop talks coming out too.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Hey, whoa, hey, what did you guys get here?
Hello.
Hey, you've been listening the whole time?
Yeah.
Stop that camera. Hey, what? So we decided it's episode 6, I believe it is, episode 6 of the Sustainiacs. Bruce Bennett, Bennett Music Labs, soon to be Hard Road, which is coming.
And Mike
check out
Vincent.
this cool mascot guitar right here.
That is our Crossroads version.
Your partner Phil, your partner in crime Phil painted that, right?
He is all about he's all about doing kind of an artistic thing on them.
Yeah, it
which
is.
Cool.
That is very, very cool. Very, very cool. And the guitars are really cool too. This one right here behind me, this is a Hard Road right there. That's already sold though, right?
That one is actually, we just sold that one.
Yeah.
This one, believe it or not, is a 1968 Giannini.
Oh yeah, that's
made in
right.
Brazil.
It's a
actually
Brazilian.
a pretty cool little guitar.
It is actually very cool. And if you missed any of our episodes before, go back and look at them on our channel because we talk about those specific 3 on a plate tuners.
He
in a
asked
previous
me the
one,
other day
right?
if we could actually inlay our new logo right here and make it look like a sign posted next to the road.
Oh yeah,
So
it's
I'm
a
gonna do that.
badass idea. That's
I'm gonna
perfect.
do
Yeah,
that.
good thing. Yeah, you should keep Phil around.
Yeah, we're gonna. He's a pretty sharp guy.
We're going to be talking about what are you talking about? Wiring harnesses and some of the crazy stuff you did on some of your custom
Yeah,
stuff,
some
right?
custom wiring and options that you can add to your guitars, which are pretty cool. Because there's a lot of sounds you can get out of just a single pickup.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people were pretty stunned when Leo Fender first came out with his first guitar, which was the Esquire.
The Esquire was his first guitar? I didn't know
That's
that.
the first guitar that they actually
I thought
came
they
out as a
acquired
production piece.
Esquire.
Oh, no. No,
see,
now
I
you're
got
talking about... Now, don't confuse Squire with Esquire.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
You're right.
The Esquire is actually the
I'm not
first
that smart, folks.
Telly-esque type of guitar. It has one pickup, okay, on the bridge.
It's all right.
But it has a 3-way switch.
I had a Gretsch Synchromatic with the floating pickup on the neck.
Ah, yeah.
Just the one.
Right.
Beautiful hollow body.
But did it have a 3-way switch?
No, it did not, but it killed. It was a great guitar. Solid
Well,
black. Anyway,
that's why the Esquire is so cool. It actually has a 3-way switch that does give you what sounds like 3 completely different pickup settings out of one pickup. Yeah.
dual coils or single?
No.
Single coil.
A single coil.
Wow. That's
Pretty cool.
What kind of voodoo is that?
Well, he
He
came
must have
up
been
with
down at the crossroads one day, huh?
in electronics we call it an RC network or
Okay.
a resistor capacitor network.
Oh.
And by dialing in and switching through to different capacitors and resistors, you can alter the tone of the pickup.
Yeah.
Now that's a little more involved than what most people are doing today,
Yeah.
where they're actually just switching coils on and off or switching the phasing of the coils,
Yeah.
or maybe even using multiple phasings of multiple pickups,
Yeah.
and then playing around with the coils.
So was that he kicked? That was the kickoff of.
That was the kickoff of
That
Fender.
was the kickoff. Wow, very
Yeah,
Very
but a
cool.
lot of people were like, "Hey, we really need that neck pickup." So, of course, the early Esquires didn't have truss rods either.
Well, yeah,
so.
everything's got to be accepted after a while, right?
Yeah,
you got to get
right.
somebody cool and knows what they're doing to say, "Hey,
Right.
that is cool," and then it's officially.
Well,
cool.
every
Right.
company that I've ever witnessed has to start somewhere, and then their product usually generates as they figure out where the issues are.
Sure, and there's always that adage that if you're not embarrassed by your first product, you waited too long to start. And talking about business, let me tell you guys something. This is what you guys got to expect when you come down to Hot Rod's Guitar, Bennett Music Labs,
Well,
or
Hot
go
Rod's
online. Where do they go online?
No, I'm killing off Bennett Music Labs.
You're killing
because-
off? Yeah, you are,
it's dead
right?
because if you Google Bennett guitars, all you get is a bunch of Samics.
Nah, okay, yeah.
There's nothing I can do.
Nah,
about
and
it.
you don't want that stuff. So we're online is what? Is it Hot Rods?
It is well. We don't actually have a hot rod site at this point in time. Believe it or not, the website is actually Bennett Music Labs, and I'm still playing around with what I'm going to do with that because I own
I'm
the
confused.
hotrods.com, hotrodsguitarshop.com.
Which you're going to change to. But hey, you contact them, the numbers in the beginning of the show and at the end of the show. This is the type of stuff that you see. Guy just walked in here looking for strings. He guided the guy to some of the best acoustic strings that are here. What kind of guitars you got? The guy was kind of interested in like your run-of-the-mill like guitar. but wound up being here for 45 minutes, and he's going to be back picking up a new guitar, because this is the type of stuff that you find here. You don't find like what you're going to find 50 of at Guitar Center.
Right, no.
Or something like that.
This is a handmade Steven Talkovich out of Atlanta. It's a white pine Telecaster, and this one was made before pine Telecasters even became anything. Nobody even thought about making a Telecaster out of pine.
Yeah.
Very cool guitar. It's about 30 years old. Great handmade set of pickups.
Yeah.
I think the guy's name is Bud's Pickups, and I don't know if he's still in business now, but great sounding Telecaster.
I love
with
these knobs.
Nice, soft, those are Fender twin knobs.
These are awesome knobs, man. They don't go to 11, though.
No, but I don't know if Nigel Pulsford plays a Tele.
I don't think he plays anything
Wait
for real.
Not Nigel Pulsford. What am I saying? No, it's Nigel.
Nigel Tufnell.
Tufnell, thank you. Sorry.
Tufnell.
I'm getting my stars mixed up.
Yeah, it's. See, if I bought this, I would probably scratch a white 11 on these.
We could do that.
That'd be.
We could do that.
This guitar is. Anyways,
it's
let's
a
get
cool
into
little
it.
guitar.
This is what you find here, man. And like Warrior or his hard road guitars. These are beautiful, man. I love these things here. Very cool stuff.
Or even old Hamers.
Old Hamers, yes.
We play around with any of the cool stuff.
Cool acoustic basses. You can find one right over there. Oh man, let's dig into it a little bit, right?
Sure.
You already started getting into it, Leo Fender, with the single coil option
Three-position
wiring,
option,
three-position
on that.
option.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that he did that. And of course, there's some other things that started happening with like the Jazzmaster, where you have the two sets of controls. You have the volume and tone on the bottom, and then you also have some switchable controls that come up to the top, and you can preset things. And it was a little more simplistic, and he didn't actually go as far as he could have, but it was an interesting way of doing it. And you could literally preset where you wanted to go by a flip of a switch. You could have one sound and then another. It's very cool.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing other guitars later on, like the Mustang, where it had two slide switches on the top, two single coils and two slide switches. But if you slid both switches either direction, you got in phase. But if you slid them in opposite directions, you would get out of phase.
But each of the slide switches only had two positions.
It had three positions.
Oh, they had
center
three.
was off.
Okay.
Center was off. It was a kind of an odd way of doing it, and some people didn't never. Actually, I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, I didn't know it would do that."
So we got all this. They start with the different switching, right? And you're going through the. We started with the original, which was an Esquire.
And the Esquire, right? The Esquire was a single pickup and a triple pick.
And then you went to the Jazzmaster, and then you went to the Mustang.
Right.
And from there, it just exploded everywhere? Or what?
Well, you start seeing, it's funny because you actually start seeing some weird things coming in from Japan at that time, where they started playing around with all sorts of bizarre switching. Teisco Del Rey actually put out guitars with 4 pickups on them, with weird switching.
Wow.
So you could combine all the coils. And then you start to see the aftermarket pickup companies coming in, and at first they're making pickups that are exactly like the originals. Okay, maybe hotter, maybe different magnets, different windings, so on and so forth. But then they began to experiment with different types of wiring.
Were they just originally were the third party ones? Excuse me. Were the third party ones just were they more started out as cheaper replacement parts?
A lot of times, yeah. Because
and then they figured, you know what, we can do this better than they can, and
keel over.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the factories wouldn't sell you. I mean, it was actually kind of hard to call Gibson and get a pickup. It was
you couldn't go to the OEM to get one anyway.
It was a bit of an ordeal to get a new pickup from Fender or from Gibson or one of those companies at that time period. And I remember
they kind of left
to
the
do
door
that.
open. They left the door open for these third parties to come in, like their Seymour.
Yeah,
Duncan,
I mean,
et cetera,
most of them didn't have customer service departments that were like you just call them up or whatever. No, you had to send them. You had to write them a letter. You had to take a picture of your serial number and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was kind of nuts to just get another pickup, and there was not a proliferation of guys sitting in their garages rewinding pickups at that time. There's only 1 or 2 guys in the whole country that even knew how to do it. Right?
Yeah. Who were the early guys doing it? Do you know?
Early?
Yeah.
I mean,
was Duncan in the early guys? Or
and DiMarzio was probably one of the first
Okay.
to come out with a full line of aftermarket pickups, and he began to explore winding, overwinding, underwinding, and different wiring schematics. Instead of just using a hot and a ground, he would do a 4-conductor wiring system and play around with ceramic magnets, Alnico magnets, size of the coil, top, width and depth and all that stuff. So he was playing around with that. Seymour Duncan came in and started winding things that were decidedly higher fidelity, a little brighter, a little cleaner, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then he began to experiment too, and some of his pickups were really, there's no way around it. Seymour Duncan is a serious force in the aftermarket pickup world.
How does the pickup relate to the wiring? Let's, for instance, let's say I have this Warrior right here, this one. You got this setup. Can I remove these pickups and change the wiring and just completely change this guitar?
Oh yeah.
Is that a custom job?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So like these pickups are Seymour Duncans. This happens to be a Pearly Gates and a little a Model 59. Okay. Now the Model 59 is traditionally, it's what we call a standard 2-conductor wiring. Okay. So it has a braided shield and a center conductor, and that's pretty much it. But Seymour Duncan will offer this in a 4-conductor wiring, which allows you to have access to each individual coil. Okay. By having access to those individual coils down here at the end of the wire, you can switch how those coils are arranged. You can actually ground one coil, short one coil out, so you're only a single coil now.
Yeah.
You can actually put them in series. Okay. Or you can put them in parallel.
Ooh.
Okay.
Can you phase them?
You can out of phase them, however you want to do it. There's several different options there, and you can have multiple switches because switches can be just as versatile as the pickups, because you can have a single pole, single throw, single pole, double throw, double pole, double throw, triple, quadruple, so on and so on and so forth. It can get pretty crazy, depending on how wild you want to get.
Yeah.
And those switchings types will give you different options. It's possible to cross switches. Okay, you can have multiple poles. So like if you had a 4-pole double throw, that means that this unit has more than, it basically has 3 positions on a double throw. Okay. You can throw left, you can throw right, and then there's
in the middle.
Okay.
Which is
if you have
like
4
a slide,
poles,
like a
If you have 4 poles, that means that you're going to have, like on a let's say that you've got a single pole single throw, you've got two terminals. But if you had a single pole double throw, you have 3 terminals. Okay. Now, what if you stack that up and you suddenly had 4 poles?
Yeah.
You have 12 terminals.
Yeah.
You can actually jumper those terminals and have signals being sent to different directions for each side of the throw of the switch. So by doing that, you can play around with how you want these coils to come in or out. It's pretty wild.
That gets incredibly complicated.
70s, early 80s, I came up with this guitar up here.
The blue one. Yeah. I'll throw up a picture.
So
go ahead. You can look right at. I'm going to throw up a picture.
The cool thing about this guitar is you have 3 single coil sized humbuckers.
Okay, that's what you got right there. Okay.
Right, and you have 3 micro switches that are dual pole, double pole, double throw.
Okay.
Okay, so there's basically 6 contacts on the back of each switch.
Okay.
Now the way we've wired it, the center position is off. If you were holding a Strat, down would be single coil.
Right.
Up on that same switch would be humbucker for the exact same pickup.
Okay.
So if you have 3 pickups, then you would have bridge, middle, and neck, and then you can put them in any combination that you wish, humbucker or single coil. Okay. Then of course we actually made it a volume and a tone, and the volumes are push-pull phase.
Okay, so put the phase in the
all
volume.
those combinations now get to be added again for
so
each
you
position.
get so you double it. So
there's about 38 sound combinations in that one guitar, and it's it looks like a standard Strat.
Yeah.
Just has that different switching arrangement. Most guitar players that I've run into
Yeah.
find that too complicated. They
Well,
can't remember what goes where.
Okay, so I can see where you're in a gig and you're flying around and all of a sudden your sound's not right. And you're like, shoot,
I gig
because you
with
hit
these-
something wrong,
I
right?
gig with these all the time, but I understand the wiring.
Yeah.
Because really what you want to do is
Amazing.
not try to remember, oh, this is a Strat sound
Yeah.
in this position. That's the wrong way to look at it. The
Yeah,
best way to
okay.
think of it is, well, a Strat is a single coil, and if I want the bridge, I know to go to the bottom switch and put it down. That's single coil. It should be that easy to remember. Apparently other people can't.
And leave the other two in off.
Yeah.
And then you've just got basically
Right.
a lipstick pickup almost.
Yeah. The cool thing about that position is that a lot of people, like Fender came out with their S1 switching.
Yeah.
That allowed you to get the oh so holy grail, can't get it any other way, 3 pickups on a Strat.
All right. So I know that there's
This will give you all 3 pickups on in single coil or humbucker, or any combination of phase, or any combination of single and humbucker, in phase, out of phase that you could imagine.
Okay, so now when you take this together, this is a slightly different question, I guess, and maybe it might not even mean a question at all. So I tend to ask questions that answer themselves sometimes.
I got you. I understand.
But we talk about the
Well-
chemistry that is a guitar, right? And all the
Right.
pieces that go into it together, right? So excluding all the other parts, because wood is important, strings are important, the neck is important, everything is important on how the guitar. And like you taught me with the hardtail basswood telly or Strat body that you were making.
Right.
Even the I guess the tremolo. What's a non-hardtail called?
Well, most
Is it
folks
just a
just
Strat?
call it a vibrato bridge.
Or a
or
vibrato bridge. That has a certain amount of vibration because of the coils inside, not the coils, but
springs.
the springs
Right,
that are inside.
right. They have
right?
a
And people
springy
like
sound.
that sound.
Yeah, you can knock on the body and hear that springy sound.
Yeah. So taking all that out of it, through just a combination of the right pickups and wiring and switches, I could have a guitar that sounds like any guitar I want.
Oh yeah, yeah. That guitar could easily do a Strat, a Les Paul, a Tele, Rick, a Gretsch. You can do any of that. It's not a problem.
So if I like the telly, which I love the feel of a telly, it just feels like something I could
Well,
throw
see,
around and just have fun with and
that
play,
was
and I
my
feel
whole
really
purpose of
comfortable
thinking
moving and
that.
getting crazy with it. Right?
That
This
was
way.
that was my entire purpose of thinking that guitar
Yeah.
out, because I'm like, I love this guitar. It feels great, but I need this sound, and it won't do that. That's when the whole concept of, well, let's put 3 humbuckers in there and then fix it so that I have access to each individual coil. And by phase, it's what's crazy is, if I turned on the neck pickup and the bridge pickup in single coil mode, or even in humbucking mode, doesn't matter. But if I did it in single, let's say single coil mode, because that's easier to think about. So shunting single coils, the bottom 2, see, they were rail pickups.
Yeah.
So the bottom 2 would be on, and the top 2 coils would be grounded. But if I pulled the phase, that would flop one of the pickups, and then the outer coils would be on.
Yeah.
And then if I flop the other phase, the inner coils will be on. See?
Yeah.
So that changes the sound.
Oh, yeah,
it's
it
a
changes it
radical-
completely.
Yeah, it's a
Absolutely
radical
it
change.
does.
But how cool is that?
It's
that you can
incredibly
get these-
cool.
That you can get all these sounds out of one guitar that still has that great neck and great feel that you like.
Well, I mean, you convinced me of one thing, because I love my telly, and I love the way it sounds. It's a straight up American standard telly, right?
Now, do you have a
It's
push
beautiful.
pull in that one?
There is not.
There's not, okay.
There is not. I mean, it's straight up single coil lipstick, beautiful.
Gotcha,
Love
right.
it. Right? 3 throw. That's
Right.
what it's got on.
You got double humbuckers in yours.
No.
No, no, you got a little 59 and a pearly eight.
No, that's the Bruce Bennett special.
Oh,
that
I'm-
you got.
okay,
I'm
sorry.
talking about the telly that I have.
Sorry, thinking of the wrong guitar.
I love other stuff. Now, why wouldn't I just take that telly body Bennett over there that's just beginning to be routed, that you could customize for anything that you wanted,
Oh yeah.
all right? And say, all right, dude, I need some heavy crunching.
Oh yeah, that can be done. I could make a John 5 telly out of that, no problem.
That's there you go. There's what it is.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: the wiring and the harnessing that is going on there, you have to have specific pickups in order to do specific things, right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
you
I
can't-
have on occasions disassembled a pickup and added coil taps to them, but it's dangerous. There's always a possibility that if you don't hit it right, you can screw it up.
Like light it on fire.
No, but you can kill it.
Yeah, yeah.
See,
you
the
destroy
wires
the
in a
whole
pickup,
thing. Yeah.
the wires in a pickup are thinner than human hair. I mean, they're tiny, and if you put too much stress on it or too much heat on it, it's gone, and there's no fixing it once that happens.
Yeah. Did they burn out? They just.
Well, they can. I mean,
Yeah,
it's copper.
they
It's
overheat.
ultra
Okay.
pure copper, and it's been run through a lacquer bath or a polyform bath in order to get a coating on it and make it insulated without building up a thick coating. Okay.
Yeah. So, when I pretended to know how to build monoblock tube amplifiers,
Gotcha.
okay, everybody wanted a silver strand wire. And
Yeah.
all that. I don't ever hear about that in guitar pickups.
It comes and goes. Seymour Duncan actually made some Zephyr series pickups that were wound in silver wire and used as stranded silver. They were very expensive at
Yeah.
the time. So a pair of them were like $700, I think, $769, if I remember that correctly. I don't know if they make the Zephyr series anymore. Many people that I talked to who actually purchased them, and I did have a few people bring them in and have me install them, but they're very bright. They have a super high fidelity brightness. That may or may not be in keeping with what a lot of players want. You know, I mean, Seymour Duncan was already pretty high fidelity anyway, as compared to say DiMarzio.
Yeah. Juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
Well, I don't know if I'd say that. I mean, if you can get more when you want more.
More clean isn't
Digital-
necessarily better, right?
Digital
I mean,
and analog is tricky because there's such a radical departure between the two technologies.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I mean, it's the sound though. I'm a tube guy all the way,
yeah, same here.
and
And
there's no doubt.
that once you get used to listening to what a tube sounds like, the digital is just too sterile. It's just not.
It's too
not
sterile.
fun.
It gets too crisp at times. But that's also my like in music. I love the Stones. I love
But I'm
the
gonna say
Tom Petty. I
this.
love the garage band type of underproduced music, right?
Lo-fi.
The Who.
The lo-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
But I will say this: some people really can't hear the difference.
Yeah.
I've run into this where people come in and they're like, "Don't you hear? Don't you hear that?" Ask them and they don't hear it.
Yeah.
I've made several people mad in the past. It was like, yeah, because it was like, "Don't you hear this?" And then I make a mental image or whatever and let them know. Okay, so listen for this. Do you hear that? And they're like, "Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, maybe I do." And then they'll call me up a week later and go, "Man,
I don't.
I
hear
can't believe this. You've made me hate my amp now because you've got me hearing this thing, and now I can't unhear it."
Can't unhear it. Can't
So-
be unheard, man. Once
Yeah,
you
well,
hear
it's like automobiles. You get in a Ford or Chevy, and it drives one way. You get in a Lamborghini, and it drives completely different.
I was gonna ask you this. There's obviously there's norms. There's we've done it this way because we've always done it this way. BS, right? And there's innovators and so on and so forth.
Oh yeah.
When you start looking at the pickups and the wiring, right? Because they go together. You can't talk about one without the other.
Yeah.
When you talk about the pickup configurations, the type of pickups, the single coils, the double coils, the humbuckers, whatever they have, the burst buckers, whatever. And then you start talking about what we were just talking about, amps, tube, solid state, or God forbid we talk about the rolling bolt 60 head, which does exist, people. And it's kind of it's a hybrid, right? Because
Right,
it's got a
right.
solid state front end to it.
Right.
Um,
If anybody
is-
wants to make a bet on that Rolling Bolt 60, I'll take that bet.
Yeah, just come right over to my house and I'll play it for you.
Yeah.
It exists.
Yeah. It's a great head too.
It is a great head. Does that matter in when you like
Sure
like
it
if I come in
matters.
and I say, okay,
Absolutely
Bruce,
matters.
I'm taking this baby. Let's start putting this together. I'm thinking that I want this, and I want the Filtertron, and I'm going
Okay.
through this, and you go, okay.
Well, I've said
Are you
this
going to
many
ask
times.
me what do you play?
Yeah,
as an
absolutely.
amp?
Absolutely, because sometimes I won't ask you directly if it's what I would consider to be a fairly normalized combination.
Okay.
But the combination matters.
Yeah.
Okay. There are some combinations that absolutely stink, and then there are some combinations that sound like rays of light coming down from heaven, and the choir's.
Are there combinations that I could offer you a lot of money and still say no, I'm not doing that? That's sacrilegious.
I have absolutely said no, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
That's just a bad idea.
Yeah.
I've told that to many people. That's just a bad idea. Don't go there.
Can you expand on that at all?
I can't think of anything right off the
Okay.
top of my head. 'Cause
Okay.
it's
So
the
what
kind of thing that-
like with the amps?
Okay.
Okay. I'm coming in here and I play through my
there are
Vox. I got a Vox C30 that I play through all the time, man.
Okay. I'm not going to say, because I learned a long time ago, there's no such thing as a bad tone,
Okay.
but there is a bad use for a tone.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
it does.
Okay. Because there's lots of songs, and we've touched on this in the past. The sound that Billy Gibbons gets in that song 36, 24, 36.
Yeah.
Not your typical guitar tone.
Those are
not
longitude.
everybody.
Those are coordinates, by the way. Those aren't.
Yeah, right. Surely, coordinates of his girlfriend. Maybe. But I mean, seriously, you wouldn't just grab that tone and say, "Yeah, this is the ultimate guitar tone." No, but it works. It works for that song. They made that sound pretty cool, for that song.
Yeah.
And then they also, look at the Edge. You can listen to anything off of Octung Baby, and the first side of Octung Baby is like, wow, it's just a whole smorgasbord of odd sounds for guitar that you would be like, I wouldn't play that by itself.
Yeah.
But I can understand how it's working
Sure.
in this song.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay? So, no such thing as a bad sound, just a bad use for a sound. I've heard people come in and play, classic tunes and played it with a metal edge, scooped mids and, boatloads of Blackie Lawless distortion, and no.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, that's that remind if you ever get a chance, maybe you've seen this or maybe not, but there's a lot of stuff out there now with the Beatles stuff where they isolate McCartney's bass playing.
Yeah, right.
And you play
And
you
you're
play
going-
that bass line, just a bass line like to While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Right.
You would never guess that that's the song he's playing. You'd
Right.
never in a million years guess
Right.
it. There's totally out of whack bass playing that totally makes sense with everything else.
It never ceases to amaze me that I'll go and hear a band sometimes and they'll play Brown Sugar.
Yeah.
Okay. Classic song. Everybody
Sure.
knows Brown Sugar.
Yeah.
But the bass player gets it wrong. Most of your wiring options, pickup options, are accomplished with about 4 or 5 simple switches that are found just about anywhere. Any guitar shop will have them. But it's all about the competence of the guy wiring it, because you really need somebody who can sit down and draw out the schematic and gets a clear picture in his head of what he's wanting to do. And if he routes that signal correctly, man, you can get that guitar to sit up and bark.
Yeah.
But
it gets complicated quickly.
It does get complicated, and the more pickups you have and the more wiring combinations you want to come up with, the more complicated it gets. And it takes somebody to really think that through and simplify those complications so that A, it's rugged and reliable.
Mm.
And
Well,
B,
that's key,
a big
right?
deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, because I have seen some rat's nests in guitars before. I mean, bad.
Yeah.
Stuff that's like, dude, I can't fix that. Let's just rip this out and start
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
This is wrong.
Yeah, this is foobar. We need to go all
Right,
over again. Yeah.
right. I mean, there's no point in making a guitar that's so overly complicated that you're going to have a master's degree in rocket science to figure this out.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. It's guitar, but it's there is a method to the madness, and don't try to circumvent it. It's pointless. And I see people do, just they don't even understand the systems that America came up with. The Americans, ASE, American Standard of Engineering. And I made one other.
This could be the
guitar
other
like
lightning.
that.
You never know.
One never knows. That's part of the
None
thing about
never
guitars.
knows.
You do your best as a builder. You build to a set of theories, and
So
you
you're building it. Are you excited to meet it?
Absolutely. I'm excited to meet every guitar. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's like a child being born.
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah, I love it. But you get your problem children, and then you get your straight A students.
And you get your straight A students that someone takes out and puts lacquer all over them.
Yeah,
It doesn't
there's always some guy.
That's right. With that, we got to end this,
Most-
man. We've been going forever today,
Most
which is
famous guy on
cool.
the planet is some guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know that.
Yeah,
I know some guy.
What happened here? Oh, some guy ran up and shot that dude.
Yeah, I know. I know some guy. That's right. I know that guy. I know that guy. I know that guy. We've been the Sustainiacs. That guy's Bruce Bennett. I'm Mike Vincent. Where are they catching you at, man? These days, where are they going to hook up and buy these guitars?
They
and
want
get
to
you
come out
deals?
to Hot Rods Guitars, 6921 Middle Valley Road, Suite 107, Hickson, Tennessee.
Yeah, and the phone number's on the beginning in the trailer. So
Yep.
give them a ring. You can reach us, the Sustainiacs, right? And the Sustainiacs at gmail. At Gmail.
Yeah, at gmail.com.
Yeah, that's our Gmail. You can get us there. You can get me
Have
at
we had any
Oceans
interesting
7.
emails yet?
Just a
Just a few
nothing.
hate mails?
Yeah, just a few hate mails. Just a few hate mails. Just the one from you telling me there's no such thing as 1946.
Yeah. No such thing, man. What are you talking about? Never made one of those.
That's not real.
But I can make you a perfect copy.
Yeah. Ocean7music.com or michaelwjvincent at gmail.com. Send us stuff, like this thing, subscribe, give us comments, tell us what you want to get into.
Yeah.
Guy knows everything, man. And well, he doesn't know everything, but he knows a lot.
If
And
I
if
don't
he doesn't
know it, I
know,
know
he
who
will
d-
get you in
If
touch.
I don't know it, I know who does.
He knows who does if he doesn't know it. And so excellent. We'll catch you guys later. Peace and love. We're going to have, I'm going to.